Marvel Cinematic Universe has entered a new, uncertain era. The traditional pillars of heroism have been shaken, and the world is more fractured than ever. With Iron Man gone, Captain America having passed, on his mantle, and the Avengers effectively disbanded, the global balance of power is in flux. This vacuum has created opportunities for new figures to rise, some heroic, others morally ambiguous. One of the most fascinating developments in this evolving landscape is the emergence of the Thunderbolts, a team that doesn't quite fit into the mold of conventional heroism. The Thunderbolts project represents a bold pivot in Marvel's storytelling, shifting focus from the idealistic and altruistic to the flawed, the damaged, and the ethically complex. The MCU has always been at its best when it grounds its superhuman stories in real-world consequences, and the Thunderbolts are a natural evolution of this approach. This isn't a team formed out of hope or inspiration, but one forged from necessity, damage control, and strategic pragmatism. Unlike the Avengers, who came together in response to an alien threat and were bonded by a common desire to protect Earth, the Thunderbolts are assembled more like a Black Ops unit, disavowed, deniable, and expendable. This premise alone sets the stage for a very different kind of story, one rooted in internal conflict, distrust, and reluctant alliances. Valentina Allegra de Fontaine has emerged as one of the most enigmatic and compelling figures in the post-Endgame MCU. Played with mysterious precision by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Val has appeared in several Phase 4 entries, including the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Black Widow. She operates in the shadows, always a step ahead, and clearly has a larger plan in motion. While her full motivations remain unclear, her actions suggest she is building a team not to defend the world, but to control it, or at least to shape events to her advantage. Val's recruitment of individuals like John Walker, Yelena Belova, and potentially others like Ghost and Taskmaster indicates a careful, calculated selection process, one that favors utility over morality. Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova is one of the most compelling additions to the MCU in recent years. Introduced in Black Widow as Natasha Romanoff's younger sister, Yelena is both a mirror and a contrast to her predecessor. She is fiercely competent, emotionally guarded, and has a biting sense of humor that conceals deep pain. The death of Natasha during the events of Avengers. Endgame left a profound mark on her, and her grief manifests in anger and suspicion. This was evident in her confrontation with Clint Barton in the Hawkeye series, where she sought justice, or perhaps vengeance, for her sister's fate. Joining the Thunderbolts isn't about redemption for Yelena, it's about purpose. She's lost her family, her cause, and her direction. In the Thunderbolts, she may find a new reason to fight, even if the mission is murky. Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes, also known as the Winter Soldier, brings both emotional weight and combat expertise to the Thunderbolts. Bucky's arc has been one of the most tragic in the MCU, from brainwashed assassin to remorseful veteran. His story has always been about identity, agency, and recovery. While he played a significant role in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, helping Sam Wilson accept the shield and legacy of Captain America, Bucky remains haunted by his past. The Thunderbolts may offer him a different kind of therapy, a chance to channel his violent past into missions that could make a difference, albeit in morally gray ways. He also provides a unique perspective on the team's more volatile members, acting as both an observer and a reluctant mentor. David Harbour returns as Red Guardian, a character whose blend of comedic bravado and deep-seated insecurity made him a standout in Black Widow. Alexei Shostakov views himself as the Russian answer to Captain America, though his actual achievements never lived up to his delusions. He's a product of Cold War propaganda and Soviet experimentation, and his loyalty is as much to his own legend as to any nation. What makes Red Guardian fascinating in the context of the Thunderbolts is that he's seeking relevance. He wants to matter again. Whether that desire leads to selfless acts or foolish decisions will be part of the dramatic tension within the group. Wyatt Russell's John Walker, also known as U.S. Agent, is perhaps the most overtly controversial figure in the Thunderbolts lineup. His arc in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was one of hubris, entitlement, and eventual disgrace. Chosen by the U.S. government to be the next Captain America, Walker was ultimately undone by his own instability and moral inflexibility. His brutal public execution of a flag smasher with Cap's shield was a turning point, not just for the character, but for the audience's understanding of what that symbol could mean. Stripped of the title but given a new identity by Val, Walker represents the idea of corrupted ideals. He still believes in justice, but his methods are aggressive, and his sense of right and wrong is deeply flawed. In the Thunderbolts, he's both a weapon and a liability. Ghost, or Ava Starr, played by Hannah John Kamen, is another character shaped by trauma and scientific fallout. Introduced in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ghost was the victim of a quantum accident that left her molecularly unstable. Her powers, phasing through matter and becoming intangible, are as much a curse as a gift. Constantly in pain and on the verge of disintegration, Ava lived a life of desperation, used by SHIELD and hunted by others. Her inclusion in the Thunderbolts suggests that she is still seeking a cure or at least a purpose that justifies her suffering. She's unpredictable, not out of malice, but because of her condition and the isolation it caused. Taskmaster is one of the more polarizing characters to emerge from the MCU's Phase 4. In Black Widow, the reveal that Taskmaster was not the mercenary Tony Masters but instead Antonia Dreykov, a victim of her father's ambition and cruelty, subverted expectations. This version of Taskmaster is silent, lethal, and robotic, having had her autonomy stripped away through chemical and neurological manipulation. Her mimicry skills remain intact, allowing her to replicate the fighting styles of Avengers like Black Panther, Captain America, and Hawkeye. Yet her emotional state remains a question. If the Thunderbolts is truly about redemption and agency, Taskmaster's journey could be one of the most poignant, reclaiming identity and rediscovering humanity after years of being used as a weapon. Each of these characters has been selected not just for their abilities but for their brokenness. That's what unites them. They are not aspirational figures. They are survivors, products of failed experiments, broken systems, and flawed ideologies. The Thunderbolts are not meant to be admired. They are meant to be understood, perhaps even pitied. Yet there is something undeniably compelling about watching such characters try to rise above their pasts and redefine their futures. Their missions won't be about saving the world from cosmic threats or interdimensional invaders. Instead, expect operations that are grounded in geopolitics, espionage, and covert action. These are the kinds of missions that don't make headlines, because they're not supposed to. They involve blackmail, sabotage, infiltration, and elimination. The stakes are still high, but the battlefield is the shadows, not the spotlight. What also makes this film intriguing is the possibility of internal conflict. Unlike the Avengers, who often rallied behind a common cause, the Thunderbolts are more likely to fracture. Their different backgrounds, ideologies, and temperaments create a volatile mix. Trust will be scarce. Betrayal is not off the table. Loyalty will be tested. And that's where the real drama lies, not in the external battles, but in the internal ones. Who can they count on? Who will break? Who has their own agenda?